Testing mic. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to PDC Season 8, regular season game versus our Pros 1 is Legend versus, I believe this is Dorkport, or How Does Ursa Hold the Battlefury? I'm not sure what team this is. I may have to change my Twitch title. Because
has the stream begun, Anthony?
Yeah, the stream has begun. I'm joined today by co-caster Sorry.
That's me.
Welcome, Sorry. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I fucked up the team names here, but I'll just fix that in post. It's fine.
Yeah. First pick, Ringmaster. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. Got great setup, great defensive tools. It's kind of like the 2025 Shadow Demon, in a sense. Kind of, sort of. You got Shadow Poison, except it's like a dagger. You follow me. You get it.
Yeah, Ringmaster offers sort of like a Shadow Demon. They have saves, they have lots of magic damage, good team fight abilities, long range poke. So I equate them pretty similar to a Shadow Demon, just slight differences in their kits. Ringmaster is more of like an AoE team fighter versus Shadow Demon, who's more of a delete specific hero.
Mm-hmm.
And Clockwork coming out on the other side, that's pretty standard support. Clockwork's pretty unique among supports in that he can provide the initiation that your team needs without any items like a Blink Dagger. And so you can have him go in on whatever target you're trying to prioritize, or if the target's like a mobility hero, an escape hero.
Do you have any insight on this Chaos Knight ban?
No. Maybe they... I think in an earlier game in the season, Drabs played at position 4. And it ended up being an alright pick. It was quite surprising how well it did, actually. If I'm remembering if it was PDC. But I'm pretty sure they have picked it 4 for Drabs.
Very exciting. Certainly an off-meta pick, particularly in a support role, I imagine. I haven't seen a Chaos Knight in a little bit. Yeah, I don't know why, except that people just follow the meta, because I'm sure it's perfectly pickable. Let's see. Trends. 50% win rate. And Divine Immortal. Yeah, I'm sure it's pickable. Yeah, I just haven't seen a whole lot of Chaos Knight for a while.
Yeah, I have not either.
Mad makes a whole lot of sense.
This patch or last patch.
Especially if it's... I think people default to assuming that Slark these days is a support. And I'm not sure if that is the case here. But a Slark in any position is going to match up pretty nicely against the clock, I would say. Maybe not probably better than average for sure. And also just makes life hard later on in the game.
Yeah, it's definitely an annoying hero to play against. If it is a support Slark, they're just going to be running around dewarding everything. So if you don't have heroes that can create a lot of space on the map, the enemy's just going to be able to outward you. And it could be also a ban in that they're wanting to pick something that Slark counters, like a tank hero, like a Tide Hunter. So maybe it's just an annoyance, or maybe they're planning on picking something that the hero counters. They go with the Warlock, though, so that's likely going to be the support duo there. And Warlock offers pretty good anti-tank, good counter initiation in team fights. You can drop the rock on any kind of initiation. If the enemy has a bunch of tanky heroes that go in, you can shred them quite effectively with the Warlock combo. And also you
I'm of two minds. I'm of two minds on the pick. Because in a vacuum I like it. It makes most safe lanes a whole lot smoother just by being there. You can threaten to do great trading with Fatal Bonds, keep your carry alive and well, and it just makes it really hard to run over a lane against Warlock. And Fatal Bonds is just so massive in team fights later on, it's almost better than the Golem. What I am less jived about is how it's your support duo revealed in its entirety. It's not an unwinnable position in terms of the draft, but it's something you give up on.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas
and also
Dire,
go.
Well, now that's probably both, but still, they do secure a contested core pick early on, Whereas pause one is legend, you know, it's gonna. I think it's unlikely that they get everything exactly as they want for their remaining picks. We'll see.
I feel like the Clockwork Warlock also lack a bit of damage just by themselves. They don't
They
have like
do.
that early game no item damage like a CM or Lion provides. And Warlock's pretty.
Plays can be made. You're definitely right. Plays can be made on the Clockwork before level 6, but this is definitely a support duo that wants to hit their level 6, and as such, they will most likely just want to casually play their lanes. In the case of Warlock, stack the small camp, pull it, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Warlock Gyro is a great duo. One, because it secures the Gyro's lane. Someone who can make stacks, take those stacks easily. So much damage to copy with Fatal Bonds. It's just a classic duo. I'm a pretty big fan of that.
So they'll pick up the Gyrocopter to complement it. With the Fatal Bonds, Flack goes very hard with that. Like a good AoE here to go with the Fatal Bond. Center to follow.
I like that. That's pretty neat.
Playing these heroes into Sand King Jakiro, so those three heroes combined provide a lot of magic damage, a lot of circles on the ground to deal damage in. And actually, I saw this pairing, I believe, yesterday in a game, and it worked out quite effectively for that team. And you kind of rely on the Sand King to burrow. Yeah, this exact trio. And the team relied on Sand King to initiate fights at the burrow strike, and then they would just drop, Macropyre, Tame the Beasts, Wheel of Wonder, all on top of what the Sand King was doing. So Sand King is kind of
also
the primary
a great duo. Do we think Jakiro is plus 4?
I would imagine so. He can absolutely be picked mid and played mid. It kind of depends on what the matchup looks like, though.
I'm assuming we see both supports, and I think I agree. I was just curious.
Yeah, most
I think
Jakiros
Ringmaster is like assumed to be a pause 5 these days.
Yeah. No, pause 4, pause 5. This could be a 5 Jakiro. I would expect it to be a 5 Jakiro, actually.
I'm thinking. I think you want Jakiro to be plus 4. It's also great to have the double attack against Rocket.
Yeah, you don't. I agree with that. You don't want to put the Jakiro against Centaur Warrunner because he's going to be getting reflected twice with every auto attack. And versus the Gyrocopter's homing missile, if he does level up in lane, having that dual attack helps shred it a little bit more and gives you a little bit more reliable way to bring it down. Jug to follow. A lot of magic damage early on from this team. I imagine it's Jakiro Juggernaut. That's kind of a classic pairing. You can also put Jug with the Ringmaster, although that's not quite as good. So it kind of depends on what Dire wants to do here. Like, do you have the Jakiro in a worse lane versus the Centaur, or a better lane with the Juggernaut?
I'm wondering if for Dire you swap your lanes here, and you play the Juggernaut against the Gyro. I think that has a
magic immunity
more substantial chance of punishing the pick.
Yeah.
It also purges Fatal Bonds. You can just run them down against the. If Warlock gets the upheaval, you don't care. You can just purge that too. And paired with Jakiro, that could be pretty sick. I think Jakiro lanes against Gyro. I think that's set in stone. And I think it gives your Jug it sets your Jug up for a better lane and turns the Warlock Gyro duo into something that's like actually conceivable to win out against.
I do like that train of thought. You generally put your position 1 in the safe lane, though, just because there's more opportunities for that hero to farm if they're not having a good lane. Juggernaut can win lanes, especially when paired with a slow hero like Jakiro. But if you lose that off lane, if you throw him in the off lane, you have to go back to your triangle to farm, really, because that's the only place you can farm. It's just so out of the way. It's not really fun to go do that.
If it starts getting tough, there is the portal though. It's easier than it ever has been to switch it up if you want to do that.
We'll see where he goes. Heroes getting banned next are a bunch of mids. Zeus, Puck, Storm, Viper. So both teams expecting to see a mid pick in this final phase. Ursa has a ton of magic damage. And pick the Tidehunter. So this might be a Sand King mid. or Tide mid, probably depending on what they see gets picked here. I was going to say, I feel like they just need a little bit more CC to kind of combo with all their spells and keep heroes locked down during the Epi and the Macropyre. And Tide definitely provides that. They're a little bit cooldown dependent, though, I feel, between the Omni, the Ravage, and the Epi.
I don't think they're too cooldown dependent, honestly. I think they're okay. I'm fairly supportive of this Tide pick. It's tanky against the things like the Clockwork. Anchor Smash is going to be pretty nice against Gyro later on. It's a nice way of like reducing the value of Centaur Warrunner's ults being used offensively. I think it's pretty decent. And it's just a big tanky boy.
Yeah,
we got some
damage.
magic tanks.
Their team was kind of lacking physical damage, other than the Jug, and so it just kind of bounces them out there. Queen of Pain gets picked up.
I think if Tide is mostly magical, but I guess it depends on the role it's taking. If it's pause 2, then yeah, it's physical.
Yeah. Queen of Pain gets picked up last, so just providing a bit of mobility and damage on our pause 1 as Legend, which they definitely need to combo with the Fatal Bonds. I feel Quap is a great hero to combo with that. So the team fight's going to be pretty scary for our pause 1 as Legend, but I feel like they're a little dependent on landing that awesome Fatal Bonds. Tide can purge it off himself, so he's not going to be so affected by it. Jug can also purge it off himself, so picking the Warlock really early on in the draft does mean they can counterpick with those two heroes.
I think the pressure is a lot on Quap here. The amount of plays you're making without Quap they exist, but they're not super substantial. Most of the damage early game is going to be coming from her and her rotations, I think. And if she doesn't get a whole lot done, I'm worried that the tanky core lineup on Dire is going to just like maybe start to scale beyond what becomes easily dealt with.
Right.
You got the Jug, you got the Tide, you got the Sand King. There's a lot of potential leaks in your ship to plug there.
So we're gonna enter into the game. Radiant's gonna be smoking up a running bottom. Dire opting to not smoke up and kind of split off at the start of the game, as we have GLHFs coming up. And looking at the items, this appears to be a core Tide Hunter, core Sand King. Mid Sand King actually going that bottle. So throwing the Tide in the off lane versus the Gyrocopter. I feel like Gyro does pretty well against Tide Hunter in lane because he does do a lot of magic damage if you level up that Rocket Barrage.
He definitely does better than most, I would say.
Plus he's just the nature of being a ranged hero. Definitely helps. Dire's going to congregate though on the low grounds. Inside ward vision for Radiant, as Radiant stay on the high ground waiting for someone to go out of position. And we might have a fight here as Tidehunter is walking high ground into a bunch of heroes. Clockwork Cogs keeps the Tidehunter pinned down, isolated from his team, and the upheaval level 1 is going to keep Dire from being able to do anything to save their hero. And that's going to be first blood on the mid, going to Emu.
Definitely a tough move to pull off that late into the rune stage.
Especially when you have no information. There's going to be more go as Clockwork manages to cog up Jakiro. Jakiro's going to be able to get out of there. I think the clock may have right-clicked the cog to get it open, or Jakiro just right-clicked it. Anyway, Drab's going to pick that up.
Big follow-up call. So it's going to be Sand King middle.
Yep. Sand King middle, 5 Iron Branches versus the Quap. In the top lane, it's going to be Jakiro and Jug facing off against Centaur Clockwork. So 4 Clock.
Let's not overcomplicate this. We have 4 Ironwood Branches, now 3 because the Tango was eaten, versus the 5 of Sand King. I think that kind of tells us who's winning mid. So we can focus on our lanes, I think.
Yes. Last it denies. And bottom lane,
we got camp spawning in a moment. Let's see, we got a bottom's gonna favor Dire on the camp spawns. Top is gonna favor Dire on the camp spawns.
Very important to keep track of that.
absolute outplays support diff.
So they end up going Jakiro Juggernaut in the safe lane. So that's a pretty scary lane to face off against as either the Centaur or Clock. But the Clock's gonna trap up this Juggernaut. Not gonna amount to much though. Between the Dual Breath and the spin on Juggernaut, yeah, and absolutely do a ton of magic damage to whatever hero they focus on. But Clock, Centaur can do a lot of damage in their own right, and this Jakiro does have to be careful with positioning to not get cogged up, and then they're just getting wailed on by the Centaur and the Clock. Centaur is under tower top, actually, trying to do a bit of damage to this Juggernaut. He's doing a good job body blocking his Centaur, keeping them under tower, taking tower shots.
Master body blocks the small camp bottom. A little bit of trading going on there, not too much else. I think I'm not as confident in this Jug Jakiro lane yielding results. And I think part of that is because Jug has picked up an early Wraith Band, which will delay boots by a little bit. Maybe not enough to be like a problem, but that's going to increase the time you're not like as easily able to run down these people. And I think if you're not running them down, if it's just a little more static and a little more like base level trading, it doesn't favor you that heavily. It's hard for Jakiro to harass against this duo because any positioning errors are very easily punished.
Yeah,
and
Clock's
Jug
a
can
fast
Blade
hero.
Fury, but it's not going to stop anything.
Yeah, Clock's a fast hero. If you like wind up a spell as Jakiro, the Clock can just run at you while you're doing that and just cog you with the extended cog range. And so you can very easily get caught out of position. You are Jakiro, so you do have that double strike against the cogs, but it is still quite difficult to play into. Gyro
Otis goes the
Warlock.
way of Dire and Radiance, one for each. Otis goes on Jakiro, sorry, Warlock and Jug.
So I'm expecting top lane to probably be a draw. Depends really on the positioning of both sides. Mid lane, Sand King doesn't really have that much sustain, which I feel like you need versus a Queen of Pain. Emu is maxing out the dagger, and so that's gonna be real annoying to deal with.
Cogs committed top.
Top lane, Cogs onto two heroes. Jug's is just gonna spin out of there, trying to get the Clockwork. Will pop the wand to stay alive enough to bring him down. Use the healing ward to stay alive a little bit longer, but it's going to ultimately go down to the center. And now getting chased by Jakiro, the slows is enough. Jakiro will be able to pick up that double kill.
Proof Stop comes out just a little bit too early, so the Blade Fury doesn't get a... Blade Fury ends with a Dispel as well, so you can't treat it like most spell immune targets these days. I'm sure he knew that, it's just the timing got a little messed up. Quap is starting to pull ahead on the XP. CS as well. The Sentry is paying dividends for sure. Having to Burrow Strike out of your own Sandstorm feels horrendous.
Yeah, Quap has a sentry in lane, and Sand King has not been able to deal with that, so unable to really stand against the magic damage from Quap. Really needs some regen items or something to deal with it. The matchup just probably isn't that favorable
Oh, for sure.
if you're maxing Q on Quap, which she put 2 points in.
You definitely do have to fight the Sentry Ward, which Sand King is coming back to lane with, so that's good. It might be a little too late.
Cogs on the Jakiro, followed up by the Centaur stun. He's gonna be left for dead as the Jakiro Juggernaut just runs away from there.
Dude, he was so close to casting his spell.
Okay, so these guys are called Door Course. I'm not sure what their team is. It's Ursa or Door Course, but I have Door Course in the Twitch.
It's Ursa. That's their team name.
It's going to be interesting to see what these mid laners do once they get their 6. Quap is just one creep away from it. And it's going to be interesting to see whether she goes to a side lane or just stays mid and tries to crush that. We have a clock rotation.
Both supports are trying to secure runes.
Yeah. Going top rune. Ringmaster bottom as well is going to contest the clock for that one. Clock might be in a little bit of trouble here as it does spawn.
Oh, the push!
Queen of Pain goes on the Ringmaster, drops the Sonic. That's going to bring him down. Clock meanwhile staying alive versus the Sand King, who does not have Epi. So unable to secure that kill.
It's good to see supports on both sides securing the runes. I think the cores are all totally fine to lane against each other solo. And the absence of any one hero doesn't like open things wide open for a punish. We're coming in on 7 minutes. I'm seeing a 2-stack in the triangle in both camps for Dire.
Clock's gonna find
Not
Jakiro
expecting
top.
many stacks from Radiant.
Yeah, never Cog.
It's a nice pick.
Followed by Centaur Warrunner. Just Jakiro has to play so safe against this Clockwork. Yeah, but you were mentioning stacks, 2-stack in the triangle.
I would have liked more stacks from Dire, but there's more than 0, which is good. And there can still be stacks for Radiant, especially on this Warlock. I think that should be a bigger priority than it has been. Both for your own XP and for Gyro's acceleration. Plus, as a Warlock, there's just like fewer plays you can reasonably make, so stacking goes way up in value.
They're gonna drop
Spell
spells
on top.
on Centaur top. Dual Breath followed by the Ice Path. They're gonna run at
Oh,
him.
that's big.
Centaur
Just got
holding
6.
the Stampede for the longest time. Waits for the spin. The clock now comes in a little bit after the party. No one to save there. He's just gonna drop Cogs and run away.
Was he level 6 the whole time? Was that my bad?
He was level 6 the whole time, yeah.
Okay, okay.
He was just holding on to it. Probably seeing if he could bait them under tower.
I think
for the
I got
clock to
distracted
trap
by
him.
the Jug being level 5 and didn't notice the Centaur. CS is fairly even across the board.
Yeah, Jug's the winner of the laning phase thus far with the most CS.
Oh, that's tough.
Illusion goes bottom. Quap blinks onto it. It's gonna get punished by this. The Sand King channels up the Epi. Gotta bring that Queen of Pain down. Tip comes
That's
out
tough.
offensively.
If he blinks and it's just a Sand King, he beats him out on the Brune and gets it, and he'll be okay. Did not know about the Ringmaster rotation. That changes a whole lot.
Could Queen of Pain have pushed
Yeah,
Sand King
Radiant is
away?
stealing Dire's triangle stacks.
Ooh, that's not good. It was just a 2-stack, I believe. So not the end of the world, but
2-stack in both, and then they blocked the small. But that's pretty nice. Pretty big. You do not have to worry about stacking for your Gyro if you just take the enemy team stacks. That's big, like next level play.
2 birds, 1 stone. Denying game.
Exactly. What plays would I like to see these teams make? Clock is getting level 6 XP middle, which is nice. I think that's important to give. Centaur will have... Centaur Stampede is up again. It's kind of awkward to commit Centaur ult aggressively here against the Tide because he's so tanky and he'll just ravage you and there's TP rotations. Against the Jug, it's doable, but it's tricky. It's probably the most doable though, especially with Sonic Wave. You don't care about the Blade Fury. You don't have to burst full to 0 chain stunning perfectly. It's probably okay. Sand King is probably... I think your first priority is the Jug, and then Sand King, and then you don't worry about the Tide for that kind of play. Spell's committed on the Warlock. It's the Ravage? Yeah,
Bottom
sure is.
lane. Yeah, Ringmaster combos the Warlock followed by the Ravage out game to kill. But Queen of Pain coming in with the TP is gonna Sonic Wave the Ringmaster, chase him down. He's gonna stick up, so maybe trying to stay alive for a bit longer, waste some time from these Radiant heroes. 2-man Fear. Ooh.
Good space though.
I don't even think he got all 3 he was getting out of there.
I think this
Bit
is
optimistic.
a dub for Dire, having Sonic Wave effectively manifest as 1 support kill, and that's it. I think you want that to be killing a core in this game. In the
Yeah,
early game.
it doesn't even slow down Tide's farm as he immediately goes back into lane. Starts killing creeps.
I'm starting to favor Dire here. Things keep as they are.
Well, they're down in kills and net worth, but they're getting their 6s. And like we mentioned in the draft, they just have a lot of magic damage on their side that they're able to just combo with and destroy heroes.
If both teams casually play the farm game, I think Dire starts to run away with it.
It's a Juggernaut versus
So-
Gyrocopter. If Jug's allowed to Omni the Gyrocopter, Jug wins, but if Jug gets CC, Gyro
I don't think
wins,
it's
I
as simple as the carry matchup. I think like the Sand King and the Tide can also just like be their own threats if given enough space to do so. Whereas I feel like Co-op Centaur Gyro does not offer the same kind of scaling.
Well, the problem is the Tide and the Sand King are a little bit committal in that they go in and then they stay in, and Gyro can absolutely punish heroes like that when they're all on the front line. You just flack them all down. So if Gyro is able to pump out enough damage, you can punish these tanky initiators.
I'm not even certain that they have to go in. They can just be tanky people and make the game awkward for Radiant. Which it already kind of is. Like, the reason we haven't seen a second Stampede come out is because they haven't felt great about making any Stampede plays.
Gonna have a go on the Warlock bottom. Kind of just stood in the lane a little bit. Gets comboed up by the Jakiro and Tide. He's gonna run out of there, taking so much damage from the Epi. Sand King's gonna use the whole Epi on him to bring him down, but the Tide's gonna fall because of that, because of this rotation by Radiant to punish this. Jakiro running away. Ooh, just missed on the hook shot there. Jakiro able to get out. 1-for-1 support for a core. Epi down, macro down. And rock down. Definitely favoring Radiant there. As Sand King gets out. And Gyro will push bottom with this Warlock wall. We have a Wheel of Wonder bottom, as looks like the Clockwork stayed a little bit too long under tower. Tried to run out of there, but straight into the Ringmaster, dropping a nice wheel.
I feel like this Dire tower bottom should not be alive. It took a little too long to push, and the pushing was a little too skittish, and the tower is still alive. I think it should not be alive after everything that transpired.
Yeah, their timing was the Tidehunter being dead, because once he's back alive and you don't have your ultimates, it's very difficult to kill this hero. Centaur goes back top, starts pushing that out. Honestly surprised that this top tower hasn't taken any damage thus far with a Centaur in the lane. I believe Jakiro stayed in that lane for a very long time to try and guarantee the Jug some farm.
Seeing Clock TP middle, likely to smoke with Quap in a moment. They may smoke under... No, they're checking first. Yeah, Dire placed a lot of vision in the jungle just now on this Jakiro. So they're just going to run, they're not going to smoke. Not just yet.
Yeah, 4 Radiant Heroes bottom. Gyrocopter showing in lane. As they're going to drop the hookshot onto the Tidehunter, try and start the fight that way. Tide's just going to walk through the cogs, not popping any of them. Sonic committed, trying to bring him down. Queen of Pain Dagger should secure that kill. It does. Now the Jakiro.
Those are good kills.
Goes down to the scream from Quap.
14-minute Wisdom shrines have spawned. I think Dire already got theirs. That's what the Ringmaster was doing. Radiant still has theirs to claim or lose.
No Nature's Prophet in this game to worry about.
Looking at 133 last hits on Jug. That is starting to pull away.
He's only just barely eking out a net worth advantage over the Queen of Pain, though, even with all that CS. Queen of Pain, 4 kills, definitely helps make up for that CS difference. Although, yeah, you don't... It's a little scary when the enemy carry does have that much net worth. Top net worth at 14 minutes with 0 kills. That's quite a good showing there in terms of farm.
It definitely feels like missed opportunities that this guy has not been pressured in the slightest by rotations or by just pushing down the tower. I feel like against a Centaur as well, like, I don't know if this tower should have this much HP. I know Jug's been like playing top. Part of why he's been playing top is because he hasn't been threatened to leave or anything. Now they're giving him even more space, looking to take the Torm together.
Gyro picked up that Battlefury. It's around a 14-minute Battlefury. Radiant's going to go bottom, take the Tormentor. They're going to be really low here. Dire nearby. They're going to Stampede out of there. Very low resources on Radiant. They do not want to take a fight at this time.
This is the nature of the Stampede spell in this game so far. We have seen it used twice now consecutively as like a retreat tool, which is a viable way to do it. But that definitely does show that like they don't feel like they can use it aggressively against the core lineup.
Dire Heroes are sticking around bottom as the 2 Radiant supports are just chilling under tower. Might have a go here in a
If Dire commits, they do just get this tower. They've already left with some of their cores.
Yeah,
Literally
Tide-
all of their cores.
Tide
already.
trying to start something. They're gonna miss the ice path on the clock, where Clock misses the hook shot on the creep wave. But it doesn't matter, as he's just
You
able
don't even
walk
have to
out of
start
it.
something, you can just get the tower.
Yeah, just trying to scare away these supports, which are still sticking around. Warlock does have the golem. Curious to see if Reed
Triangle
defends
stacks.
this.
I think they should just let Dire have this. I don't think this is.
Especially worth getting.
See,
Especially...
you have the blink on Centaur. That's new. Maybe that changes things. You can catch out the supports. It's definitely a worthwhile endeavor.
Dire retreating.
I'll also say that Jug can be playing with his team, especially with level 2 Omni Slash. Killing that creep wave top and then taking Portal, I think, is a reasonable move. Or something. But I feel like Jug can start playing now. So either they rotate to Jug, Jug rotates to them. I want to see something like that.
For reading Hero's bottom as they rotated to try and defend that tower, but Dire has smoked up and are trying to find the gyrocopter. They're running top, and they're going to see the gyro in lane with only 500 HP here. Sand King has the blink target. He's going to commit the epi for this. They are not messing around with this kill. Probably not necessary. Stampede comes out, but
Stampede
it's
is
too late.
committed for little.
Yeah, as the Centaur does come over. Warlock and Clockwork are nearby. They're trying to catch something here. Juggernaut's here, though, and he has the Yasha now. So, pretty dangerous hero.
Look forward on the Quap. It's a little sussy.
Yeah, I noticed
Works
that.
out. Rune spawn's top. I think that's going the way of Sand King.
Clock's gonna scout it out. Burrow strikes for it. Jug is definitely beating Gyro in the farm game. Over 2,000 CS or net worth difference between the two.
Yeah, it's starting to really accelerate.
Working towards that Manta.
Close to double his CS at the moment. Clock's trying to make a play top. This feels a little bit late, but it's better than nothing, certainly. You do have Sonic. There's plenty of burst damage. You can connect a single stun. You probably need more than one stun to connect.
Be curious to see if they want to start with the hook shot or the Centaur with the blink dagger.
I think this is just like a little bit late. It's still doable, but it's
Yeah.
late.
Dire are retreating from this tower. And as Gyro is just sitting bottom farming.
The other thing is like the lack of early game plays makes it harder to do plays later on, like right now, because towers are still up, you know, except for the mid one. They did get the bottom one, but the top one still being alive and that healthy definitely puts some strain on your ability to move around and punish people, and also is a big factor in why Jug's feeling so happy.
Yeah, it makes it easier to rotate heroes to defend, as the Jakiro was found there by a smoke gank from Clockwork Centaur. So they do manage to find that kill. But yeah, the big problem is like if you're playing near towers, the enemy can TP onto those towers and respawn or
Exactly.
reinforce very quickly. So a bit of a lull, both sides content to farm. In terms of tier 1 towers, all of them are gone at this point, so just tier 2s remaining. Taya just picks up Blink Dagger. It's on the courier. And Sand King working towards that Aghanims. He's going to channel Epi, going on the Gyro. They're going to find a Gyro in the bottom lane. He's going to not have the HP to survive this, as the Little Wonder was committed, forcing him to turn around and die there. Clockwork is nearby, has hookshot in 1 second. Could find a target here. Squaw's going to blink forward aggressively. They're going to hookshot a escaped acted Sand King, who's now stuck in the cogs. Ravage to counter-initiate as a Juggernaut's
Blinks
here now,
out.
Omnis. Onto the Clocker, killing him. Sand King does go down. Now the Queen of Pain, very low, has to blink away. Tide blinks onto the Warlock, who's now slowed. And just getting wailed on by this Tide Hunter. Just gonna pop really quickly. A Centaur now goes in onto the Jakiro now. Most of his team is dead at this point. Not sure about this initiation. Jakiro's gonna drop the Macropyre. The Blade Mill's not gonna be enough to kill the Jakiro though. As Queen of Pain is the
Centaur was
only
hoping to get a
survivor.
quick return kill on the Jakiro in the back line. Not quite enough burst to make that happen. Even
Yeah.
if you do, maybe if Jakiro's dead, it's enough CC gone that you can get out, but I'm a little skeptical. All the
Jakiro-
slows from Gush, Ringmaster.
Yeah, Jakiro did do a lot of damage to that Centaur with the macro power, but I don't think that Centaur was getting out of there after that commitment.
I feel like this is going a little bit better for Dire than it should be, specifically when it comes to their item builds. I'm wondering if Sand King should have a Bloodstone instead of an Ags right now. And then, like, we see a similar result as of him being too tanky to kill. I don't know if he's, like, too tanky to kill with this Ags. But we're just not seeing the plays come up.
Gyro's going to be spotted tanking stacks, and it's going to do a lot of damage to Jakiro. Jakiro's actually going to go down to the upheaval
Absolutely wrecked on the
from
Jakiro.
Warlock.
Ringmaster, no. I thought Ringmaster stole the Shrine of Wisdom.
Yeah, that was
That'd
taken
be crazy.
already.
Pretty crazy if it lasted an extra minute, but that was the. I think that's what Ring was checking regardless.
Radiant are now congregated all top. Curious to see what kind of play
This looks
they
like a
make.
smoke in action. There we
Yeah.
go. Looking for the jug, I imagine.
They're going to find
It'd be
the
unfortunate if they
Ooh.
break on Tide.
Yeah, Tide's running away from them right now. Sand King did show mid for a second there, so they know he's in that area. Jug's pretty far away, though, farming the safest part of the map right now. As they do
I
spot
hope they
out
try
the
and walk
Tide.
past this.
Yeah, this is not the hero you want to go on. Clock is going to break on it, misses the hook shot. Clock and
I
Tide's
think
just
you
going
just
to
let it go. Yeah, you
walk
just let it
away.
go.
Yeah, there's going to be reinforcements from Dire coming in after that smoke break, and Radiant should be skedaddling here. But
They do have a low ground ward to see the Sand King in a moment.
Sand
They're just
King
gonna
on the
keep backing
side. Blinks and Burrow Strikes in on the Clockwork. They're going to drop Suit for him, but that's the only thing they're committing to try and get him out. Ooh, Stampede, but he got leashed
Hard
already.
countered
so,
by the anchor.
yeah, not able to run away with the Stampede. And that's going to be a dead Clockwork.
Even without the anchor, I think you just let him go. I don't think he's worth Stampede.
Who's
Especially with
definitely
hook shot cooldown, like. Quap goes for a solo play in the Ringmaster.
Omni? Ringmaster? Oh, that's Quap, actually. I thought that was Omni.
They're running at this Centaur.
Center now has the ward, is going to see Sand King coming in. Not sure if he can get away from this
miss.
plane.
Blink
Misses
cooldown,
on
though.
the dual breath. Liquid Fire is going to prevent the blink for now. Tide's now in, drops the leash. And there is no getting out for the center. Can he get the return kill before he goes down? Ooh, that was close. But not enough.
300 C-outs on Jug versus the closest second, 166 on Gyro. Followed right behind by the Sand King and Tide.
Yeah, Jug's playing a different game.
Yeah, Networth is starting to pull away. I'm still a little critical of never, like... We saw it once, basically, bottom in the jungle, with the Juggernaut coming out to play with the Omni Slash. I think there were definitely some missed opportunities to do that earlier on, like when they were going for the tier 1 bottom, and being Jug top safe lane with the portal right there after the farm. With that all said, like if you just want to outfarm the enemy team when they don't punish you, that's also a perfectly reasonable path to victory. So far, Radiant has not done a sufficient job of punishing the Jug or any other core. I feel like they don't feel like they can get it done. And the tricky thing is that even if they do, there's still 2 other cores you didn't deal with.
Right.
Which is part of what I was worried about for them.
Juggernaut has finished up the Aghanims, working towards Blink Dagger. As Dagger to smoke up now. They're going to break on the Clockwork. No blinks forward by the Sand King, though, so Jakiro gets some wards down, trying to find a different pick.
I'm pretty sure Dire saw the clock. Right? The Sand King saw the clock.
I think he was just outside range. It is nighttime. Clock's going to turn around on the Jakiro, who's half HP. Jakiro's going to force staff out of the cogs. Clock is running into the Jakiro, but that's into the entire Dire team there. As he's going to go down. Rock onto 3, but there's no follow-up. Not even a Fatal Bonds follow-up.
Fatal Bonds was already used.
Yeah. Was on the Jakiro?
But yeah, there's just no...
Clock dead, Dire going to transition into going into the Roche Pit. Centaur's nearby, has that Blink Dagger. They're going to scan it, so they know they're doing it. No good way of scouting the Roche until Clockwork's back up with the Flare. Quap is farming closer to the Roche pit. Gyro's going to ult and give vision. Sonic Wave kills
That's
the Tide.
pretty big.
Roshan getting Juggernaut very low. Juggernaut able to Swift Slash out of the pit, though, onto the Gyrocopter, but he's just going to pop because he was solo HP. Sand King's going to turn around, Epi the Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's going to go down. And now Centaur and Queen of Pain are going to chase down the Ringmaster. Bring him down as well. A 1 for 3.
This was a really important turn for Radiant.
Yeah, very nice team fight.
Very important.
Dropping the call down, it's called? Yeah, call down and the
Yes.
Sonic Wave, just softening up those heroes. Tide basically just popping to those 2 spells. And Jug was just solo HP at that point. That even Swift Slashing out of the pit did not help him escape, as he just got right-clicked by the Gyrocopter. Good job by the Sand King, though, to bring down that Gyrocopter with the Epi. So they did manage to get a kill out of that. Aegis did go to the Queen of Pain. As the lanes start to get shoved in on 2 sides. Queen of Pain blinks into the creep wave. Sand King's going to explode it with the Caustic Finale, doing quite a bit of damage, but there's no follow-up disable for that.
Got Wisdom spawning in 30 seconds. Lines are being drawn on the map.
It seems like Jakiro wants to play in the triangle. There is an Obs here by Radiant, scouting out this Jakiro and Tide. So that will get the
I think there is a big timing for Dire to exploit here where Gyro doesn't want to fight. He doesn't have BKB yet. I think he's just now getting an Courier. But the point remains, at least before this, that like they kind of did it with the Roshan, but I mean that's what the smoke was meant to do. I think it was just like a missed opportunity on the Sand King to blink and kill the clock. I'm pretty sure he's on the clock. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure. Now they're not aware of this BKB just yet. TZ shows here, then they'll know. Yep, now they know. They just grab the Wisdom bottom. Joe already got it for Radiant.
I feel like Gyro really needs Satanic to make BKB work out that well, because you still can't just right-click the
Satanic, huh?
Gyrocopter. Yeah.
Satanic? I'm not familiar with this.
No,
Satanic?
the regen item that carriers get.
It's the Ringmaster's Strongman Satanic.
There you go.
Yeah. Smoke goes top for the Jug. Or was it? I mean, it was for the Jug, yeah. It was just a little late.
Do not find him, though. There is a Tormentor bottom if Radiant wish to pursue that.
She replaces Obs under an enemy sentry. Feels bad. I think both teams have made fewer plays than I would have liked. And I think that favors the Dire, but still. There's definitely been some opportunities where the lull in action favors Radiant.
Could just be a
I
matter
have good
of not
vision with
having
this Obs. I
vision.
really like that Obs.
Centaur
Centaur
blinks
goes
in onto the Juggernaut, tries to press him down, escape back to follow. Sonic Wave's going to get the Jug very low. He's going to be able to turn around, though, get the Omni Slash off on this Queen of Pain. She's going to go down, pop the Aegis, secure getting low on the back, as the Ringmaster does go down to Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's now getting focused. He's going to pop the BKB as he gets poked down by the Tide. Sand King goes down to the Queen of Pain, but Jug right there with the full Omni Slash, trying to bring her down. But the nice Centaur stun right at the end of that Omni Slash is going to get him very low. Homing missiles, giving vision, and they're going to be able to chase him into the trees and kill him. Juggernaut dead, Sand King dead. No Epi on the Sand King is now. Radiant keep going. Nice cog onto 2 heroes. Jakiro force-staffs himself out of there. As the Ringmaster did buy back, now he goes down, die back on him.
I am amazed that Radiant won that fight. I'm a little befuddled.
They got the Juggernaut very low.
They had
right at
great
start.
vision with that Obs, and then they just took a crazy Centaur jump that stunned one person. And then the Quap followed up on that with a Sonic Wave that I think hit one person. I think that's just Aegis. I think Aegis like just saved their fight.
Yeah. Spells one on the Queen of Pain to bring her down. I think, yeah, it was a Swift Slash, I believe, to bring the Queen of Pain down. Just Juggernaut solo at the fight. He basically just died. Hook shot onto the Jakiro, catches him out.
Love that energy with no one else alive to
just
punish.
Gonna go down. Yeah, Epi was not used in that fight either, which that's an Ags Epi, so you really need to be using that in fights if you want to win them. Raiden are going to take the top 2 or 3 and start working on the racks. Still some def time on the Dire support, so not sure how willing Dire is to try and defend this one set of racks. 25 seconds on Omni.
You have a Blink Dagger on Jug. I don't know how new that is.
He got
that
it
does
after
help
his
out.
Ags. So it's
But
new-ish.
did he have it last team fight? I assume he did, but I'm not certain.
Believe he did, unless he was
They're
saving
chasing.
for buyback.
Stampede used
Yeah,
defensively
Stampede
again.
used,
I like
but
with the anchor, just hard
Anchor
counters it.
prevents it. Jug's just gonna blink forward.
It's so
has a Soul
sad.
Slash.
It's so sad.
Nice movement speed,
Oh,
nerd.
man.
That was Clockwork Left 4 Dead.
It's the same guy too. It's happened to him twice. Poor guy. They're chasing this Quap. They're on the offensive. They're on the hunt.
Yeah, no dead in the water though means this Clop cannot escape.
Yeah, she
or
blinks
cannot
out.
get caught.
Clock took the hit. Dies for her sins.
So Queen of Pain has
Is this
overtaken
a
Jug.
real quick? Is this a best of 2 or best of 3?
I believe they're all best of 2s in the regular season,
Okay.
which this is.
Fuck.
Well, we only get 2 games. Is that what you're complaining about?
Yeah.
Damn.
Guaranteed 2 games.
It's a pretty good one. Exciting team fights thus far. Just a little on the slower side. Dire has all of their ultimates. Take a look at their vision. They only have 1 defensive ward, so no real ability to scout out what Radiant is doing. Radiant, meanwhile, have split up. They have pretty good vision across the map, but do not see any of Dire's heroes. Dire's going to smoke out and hang out in their jungle. Looks like they wanted to go top, are now going mid.
I'm not sure if I like this smoke because I'm not seeing any like clear objectives to take.
Yeah, they don't
after
see
a pick
anybody.
or 2.
They do not see anybody. This is just a
Not even
blind
about
smoke.
like what they see or don't see. Like once you get a pick, it's a little bit awkward to turn that into even a tier 2. And there's nothing else to take right now.
Radiant are going top to take the Tormentor. Dire might find a Warlock here. He's channeling the upheaval. Not sure if they see him though. Oh, they're gonna see him. Scout him out with the Impalement Arts.
Get cooked Bo2, and Radiant gets Tormentor for that. That's definitely favors them by a lot. That smoke feels better for Dire if they can at least get some vision down while they're in the area, but it looks like no wards were placed in the meantime. We get 1 from the Ringmaster just now.
Another one by the Jakiro.
Not
on
quite
the
as deep as
Tormentor.
you would hope from a smoke.
Yeah. 2 wards kind of in the same area of the map. One of them on the Tormentor, or the gate, but the Tormentor just got, so not sure how effective that's going to be. Both sides playing very cautiously. Juggernaut is working towards that butterfly, which is going to be a pretty late one, so it's going to be a late
Should this
MKB if
be
Juggernaut
a
wants to get it.
nullifier instead?
For like the Yules on Queen of Pain, or what items?
For the Yules, for the Clock Ghost Scepter, for the Warlock Glimmer Cape.
Yeah,
I'm
I could see that.
wondering
I could
if-
absolutely see that argument. I feel like he's going down to magic damage mostly, not right clicks. Jakiro is going to have his smoke.
Yeah,
broken
I'm
by
not
his
sure about this butterfly.
Yeah, Warlock's
Chance
going
of
to be
a
the break of a smoke again, but Cloakshot comes in, tries to buy him some time, dead in the water on him, gonna get him very low. He has the rock, he's gonna use it. Nice centaur stun onto 2. Jakiro's trying to get out of there. Queen of Pain blinks in, Sonic's the Tide, who's just running away with very little HP. Queen of Pain's gonna blink forward onto the Ringmaster, getting him super low. Homing Missile, gonna secure that kill. Jakiro did die on the side there.
Blink
Queen of
out?
Pain
Nah.
keeps chasing Tide just a little too long on that blink cooldown. And Queen of Pain's gonna
Couple
get a double
notes. It's another late Stampede. This time, at least, it's a little more understandable because he was TPing in first. Other Stampedes in this game have also been a little bit late. That's something to criticize. Another Sonic Wave on 1 person. So sick. Great job, Emu.
And again,
When you
no
were going on the
epicenter.
Ringmaster, I think the Yules on the Tide would have been sick, just to make sure he can't run away any farther. But it worked out. I think you did not get punished for that, though, so get fucked.
And again, no epicenter
Passive
on the
Yules?
Sand King. So not coming into play
It's
once
big that
again.
no one on the side of Radiant dies there, though. That's
Yeah.
huge. If Warlock dies, no Golem comes out.
They did take the tier 2 mid, open that lane up, but they're going to retreat back into the Roche pit. Dire does scan and Roche does roar, so they are aware of this happening, but Dire are just hanging out in their base. Not able to make any
A
moves.
big part of
across
that
the map.
team fight panning out the way it did is just there was no Juggernaut, right? Was there even a Sand King? I don't think there was.
He did not
It was just
actually.
a Tide Ring Jakiro.
I was not looking at those two heroes' positions, but I did not see them in the fight.
Yeah, if they weren't in the fight, they were not in the fight. A little bit of a questionable jump by Dire. You do not have substantial damage without your Sand King or Jug.
I think they were trying to get a pick. They found the Warlock. They went on the Warlock.
Yeah,
it
I
just
understand.
Took them way
I
too
think that
long
was the
to bring him
intention,
down.
but
And so Radiant was able to TP to tower to defend them.
yeah, but if you make a play like that and it goes poorly, the timing was unfortunate, such that Radiant's just easily able to turn it into a Roshan, and they've got an Aegis, and it's really compounding now. The game has started to change such that Dire, for all their tankiness, are now struggling to deal with Radiant's tankiness, and now they're feeling the strain of like not really being able to make plays or kill people. Hookshot in.
Hookshot finds Jakiro, gonna get escaped active. He's just gonna try to walk out of there, but unable to. Force staffs to the low ground. Dust reveals him. And just gonna get bursted down. So no Jakiro for this defense. He does have 5
Jug starts TPing and then cancels. I think he was TPing to the tier 3 and then felt like it was too deep, which makes sense. Does give him a little bit of a window here without the Jug. He's just gonna have to run down.
Radiant are gonna drop
Better
banner. They
committed.
want to crack this high ground. Epi getting channel on the side. Ravage on 4 heroes, followed up by the epicenter. This is
spells.
massive damage. Pipe comes out though, keeping them alive for a little bit longer. Queen of Pain with the full Wind Waker is gonna skedaddle out of there as now she's gonna re-engage. Sonic Waves one hero
Another
once
Sonic
again.
on 1 somehow?
Just the Sand King, no deaths. Centaur, the only hero to die on
That one's
Radiant
kind of
thus
crazy.
far.
I don't even blame you, Move, for that one.
It's kind of crazy that Centaur of all heroes was the only one to die, considering how tanky that hero is. Jakiro did die, or he did buy back during that fight. As Queen of Pain is going to spy the Ringmaster on the side. She's going to blink on him, but chooses not to follow. As we have a Slift Slash onto the Gyrocopter, but immediate counter initiation by the Warlock to prevent any kind of follow-up. As Juggernaut now out of ultimates to do any damage. Granola full HP on the Gyrocopter. Just going to sit here with the rock and push high ground, take that second set of racks. No Ravage,
It's
no
crazy
Epi.
with
It's going to be difficult for Dire.
it's
to
crazy
come
with that sick punish by Dire. They get 1 hero and they still lose their racks.
back. Yeah, how did they not kill
crazy.
more heroes?
I
There's
think
a 4-man Ravage, 3-man
was,
Epi Burrows.
was Jug not on top of that? I think he wasn't, and I think that's probably why.
That had to have been it. I don't
I don't remember where Jug was. I don't remember where Macroplier was.
I was too busy looking at the Sand King.
It definitely should have secured them to defense. So I wish I could see the replay right now to see like
Yeah.
who was missing out, but yeah, it definitely wasn't supposed to be okay for Radiant. They pushed high ground with way too many people in front of the tower. Should have just been the gyro.
40 seconds on the Ravage. Epi is now up. 20 seconds on Omni. Radiant's knocking on the door with the Spinal Rex. He's going to go in with the Epicenter onto 3 heroes, but Gyrocopter just turns off Satanic but goes down, unable to right-click. Gyrocopter explodes, and the rest of his team just has to run away from him.
This time justice is served.
Able to finally get some kills. Radiant smoke up, just retreating, full retreat all the way back across the river. Queen of Pain finds a haste though. Looking to maybe do some kind of aggressive play. Tide's going to show mid, blinking by the Centaur, finds 2. Sonic Wave to fall. They're going to explode those supports. Ringmaster and Jakiro going down super quickly as the Tide now very low HP, trying to run away. Has Ravage, holding on to it for the time being. He does have buyback. He's going to use the Ravage. Very surprising decision there, as he did have buyback. Could have bought back with the Ravage and full resources, but
Somebody on Radiant should capture this outpost, I think.
using it now. Gonna have buyback
Some
onto 2
buybacks.
dire heroes as we have a Blink and Burrow Strike to start the fight. Jug full omnis the Queen of Pain, but she's just gonna Wind Waker out of there. He's probably regretting not going Nullifier at this point. As,
Yeah.
Queen of Pain just able to tank that full omni.
Hook
Tide
shot.
now buyback, tried to go on the Warlock, but just gets cogged and not able to chase. Now they kill the Warlock. Clockwork as well will soon follows.
Radiant should be done here, but they're feeling themselves. They're feeling the high ground advantage.
And they're full of resources on all cores. Juggernaut's
I think this is going to
way
feel a
out of
lot worse
position.
without the supports.
Yeah. Juggernaut's way out of position as Queen of Pain just
Alright,
getting
that's
blink
good.
on
A
him.
good start.
He's gonna silence him with the shard and bring him down.
He could have, at the very least, purged that silence. That might have been enough. You can spell immune the rest of the magic damage and it's just a sonic wave.
Just the Sonic Wave. That is quite a bit of damage.
Still quite a bit. Maybe was still dead with his health pool. I couldn't remember exactly how much he had at the start of that club engagement.
I don't think he was getting out of there regardless. She's still.
He probably wasn't. Quap's going in.
Quap's gonna go
kinda
into the
based,
Let's
stopping
get
the
it
epi
for
channel.
the BKB though. As Quap's just gonna Wind Waker out of there. Sand King now channeling the epi, trying to turn this into something more as Granola on the Gyrocopter sitting high ground with BKB. Now that BKB's done though, as he's now taking the full power of the epicenter. Juggernaut trying to bring him down desperately. Sonic Wave keeps the Juggernaut
Huge
away
fatal
from the
bombs.
Gyrocopter though, as now Ringmaster dies. Sand King forced to buy back. Jug running away on the side. Queen of Pain looking for more. Is gonna dust for the
Mega
Jakiro.
creeps.
Running into Fountain as Radiant do get mega creeps. No epicenter. 10 seconds on Ravage. No Ringmaster. Radiant looks like they may have wanted to leave. Tide blinks forward aggressively, drops the dead in the water onto the Queen of Pain. She's just going to Wind Waker again. It's now the Quack all alone in front of his team, going to get comboed up by the Jakiro. And the Juggernaut. Sonic Wave onto, I think, 3 heroes there. Pops the Sand King. He's die-backed. As now full Omni kills out the Centaur. Jug just running away though as Ravage comes
Radiant
up.
should just
3
buy
hero
back to
Ravage.
outposts. Just buy back.
Yeah, they should. As Quap is chasing down this Juggernaut, running away with the spin. Only right clicks can bring him down now. He's going to be able to get back into Fountain. Queen of Pain Gyro might be enough to win this game, though, as they're getting buffed by the Warlock Soup. They take 1 tier 4. Jakiro has the Macro Pyre. They need to wait for Jug to be able to do something. Although Jug's just going to get bursted
Huge
by
damage
Queen
on
of
the Jug.
Pain so low. He pops the Healing Ward. Trying to turn, trying to Swift Slash anything, but his Ancient's dying. He can't stay in the base for very long if he wants to win this game. And just going to go in for a quick pit stop, but run back out. Tidehunter blinks forward, then the Water's Queen of Pain, who once again is just going to Wind Waker it off. As we now have the Blink Swift Slash by Juggernaut onto Gyrocopter. He's going to BKB and run away. And Ancient is exposed. Ancient only half HP. Clockwork's trying to right-click it. He's going to get worked on by the supports here. Ringmaster and Jakiro in the back getting so low to just creeps. The Queen of Pain's going to jump on that and trying to bring these heroes down. They're going to be able to get back into Fountain Nose. Tidehunter now so low. Trying to get back to the base. He's going to go down to the Flak Cannon. It's Gyro just now
Sonic
trying
on
to
3,
finish
2
the
kills
game.
and Fountain.
Juggernaut, the only one alive. He goes down. Game 1 will be going to our Claws 1 as Legend.
I think it was a little sloppy by both teams. And I think that sloppiness initially favored Dire, and then they didn't do enough with it. And I think I disagree with some of their item pickups. There was the Butterfly we mentioned most recently. I think definitely one of the heroes between Sand King and Tide got their Blink Dagger too early. It might have been the Sand King. I think we usually see like mid Sand Kings go first item Bloodstone and or Ags.
There were 2 fights
Yeah.
where they did not use Epi. And if you go Aghanims, you're committing a lot of resources into a spell that you're just not using in those team fights. And yeah, I feel like the Jug definitely needed a Nullifier that game if they wanted
We also
to
could have seen more
game.
activity from the Jug, especially at level 2 Omnislash,
Yeah.
with the rotation to Portal and stuff. I think they definitely missed out on some opportunities. And
Good
Radiant,
leverage.
what I will say about Radiant is they did a better job of turning like kills into objectives.
Hmm.
That was one thing I'll definitely give them credit for that game.
All right, good first game, 44 minute. And we'll be back shortly with game 2. Everyone, welcome back to PDC Season 8 regular season between HDU HTB versus our Pod One is Legend.
The T is lowercase, so it would actually be HDUHB.
All right.
Hadub.
Dib.
Hadub. Hadub.
Our Pause One is Legend did win the prior game in this best of 2. And looking
Facts.
at bans, pretty similar to last game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if the Queen of Pain gets banned this game. Might expect that like a much later though.
Second phase ban, perhaps.
Yeah, at minimum, or third phase, because both teams did go with their mids last picks. You could probably afford to wait till then. I remember seeing the Silencer and the AA as well, so I think that our Puzzler's Legend went with the same bans once again. Clockwork gets banned this game.
Night Stalker, that's hype.
Yeah, we're not going to see that again.
A core pickup at the beginning. It's not how the first game panned out. Still support to open.
So Night Stalker first pick. Pretty solid.
Gives you a little equity against a potential quap.
Mm-hmm.
That's not purely why you do it, but it is a factor. Now, the tricky thing about an early Night Stalker is if you just tank up, it can feel tough to be a Night Stalker. It can feel very tough.
It's very important, I feel, to win your lane as a Night Stalker, or at least come out of lane strong, because you are pretty item dependent to be able to go to toe with enemy cores and to be able to pick off supports with impunity.
Definitely helps. If you don't win lane, you do need to be using night times proactively to make kills happen and turn that into towers. But if you just play the farm game, you're definitely losing a whole lot from your offlane. Tiny is a reasonable counter. Maybe not counter, a reasonable matchup against a Night Stalker. You're a little bit tankier on average. If other people are being gone on, you can avalanche from a distance without being silenced yourself. And it's not the worst carry to stand and fight the Night Stalker. It's not the best either, but...
Tiny does get pretty armored just through levels, so that is nice to have versus the Night Stalker if this is a support Tiny.
I'm also going to take a quick look at Tiny's innate, because I'm not quite familiar with what it does.
It's the
stacking
Craggy
debuff that lowers their attack damage with each stack.
Yeah, it's like old Craggy. It doesn't stun anymore though, it reduces damage.
Yeah. So that's not a huge thing, but it's better than nothing, for sure.
This could be flexed either support or core, depending on what they see. You don't see support Tiny too much these days, but it is viable. Bans coming out next. Could we see Magnus, Beastmaster, and Slark get banned?
I'm assuming that it is a flex for them, even though it's a flex in the WDL team that I'm a part of with Granola, because it can go mid or pause one. For this phase Dota team comp, I'm assuming it's a flex if it's picked first. It's definitely a pause one Tiny potentially. I'm not sure who else plays it. Do you know?
Maybe Drabs. I'm not familiar with Drab's heroes. But I think 4 Tiny is completely viable. If you combo it with something to take advantage of like the toss and toss heroes out of position.
It definitely can work. I was just curious if we...
I don't know.
If you knew.
Sure. Other than Granola, who plays it.
Mm-hmm.
Venge
is a pretty reasonable pickup against the Night Stalker.
Yep.
Another option would have been the likes of Disruptor, but this is better in certain situations for sure. I'm totally fine with that pickup.
Yeah, she's also pretty naturally tanky, does have high armor, gets good agi, so we'll be able to survive a bit longer versus the Night Stalker than like traditional sports like a Lion or a Roster or whatever. And the nice thing with her as well is she gets that bonus to base damage from her Vengeance Aura, which combos nice with Tiny, who has tons of base damage.
Another point in Venge's favor is if you have a little bit of space and you get the Ags, then that just makes life so much harder for Radiance and even the Night Stalker. So if you go on other people, Venge swaps them. If you go on the Venge still lives. And you're not killing her twice, most likely, without help, before she can do something about it. Shaman.
So do you see the Rasta? If this is a 3 Night Stalker, this will be likely a 4 Rasta to support them in lane.
Do you like this Shaman pick?
It gets bursted by Tiny very easily, and Venge has the range to cancel Shackle. Venge is kind of slow in short range though, so she can get punished quite hard if the Rasta faces her in lane. And gets out of position, the Rasta can just eat her up.
I feel like the most advantageous thing about it so far is that it's hard to kill the Serpent Wards, assuming he goes multiple. I mean, it's kind of in either case. It might be okay, but I'm not seeing... I feel like with what is shown, it's not like crazy good.
Yeah, you don't really combo or counter anything with Rasta unless you see like a mobility carry like a Morphling or whatever, or like an Anti-Mage. But it's just generically a very good support. Like you can spam it in pubs, for example. It's just like it gives your team lockdown, it gives your team push, gives your team very strong laning.
I don't think it's good enough here. What if the Shaman was like a Jakiro? It just gives you better tower push with less committal. It's better like damage CC from a distance, which is important when your Night Stalker is so much faster than you. I think the Shaman is a mispick. I'm not sold on it at all.
I think it's fine. It provides a lot of disable. If you're planning on going the draft that doesn't have that much disable, Roster can
It's not necessarily disable though if you can't commit to the full shackle. Maybe you can, but what I'm seeing right now is a lot of unreliable damage. And I'm worried about that. Especially if Shaman doesn't max Q, which people usually don't max. I might like to see a max Ether Shock this game.
Rasta does combo very nicely with the Grimstroke, though. Like, he has 3 single target spells that can be used on 2 targets with the leash.
I don't think you can put too much, too many eggs in the basket of it pairs nice with Grimstroke ult, because it's just so tricky to actually make that work out. Because think about it, you have to first use the Grimstroke ult and then use the CC, which it's not usually how it pans out. I feel like most of the value from Grimstroke ult kind of happens almost on accident. You know what I mean?
I do see that.
Here's what I will say. The kinds of spells that you intentionally want to duplicate with Grimstroke ults are not the kind of spells that Shadow Shaman is going to be holding unless they came off cooldown the second time. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, they could be planning on picking something like Alina or some other massive single target spell that really combos well. So we may just not see the full combo just yet. One nice thing though about Grim is his bug is very annoying to kill as a tiny with that low attack speed. Spearbreaker as well. Like they just pick the Spearbreaker into it, but it's very annoying to kill the bug with these low attack speed heroes.
I'm still pretty iffy on the Grimstroke. I'm iffy on the duo. I'm iffy on the Shaman. I'm liking the Spearbreaker more for sure. I think that's a pretty solid punish to the Grimstroke Shadow Shaman. Just kind of squishy boys.
Followed up by Axe.
So seeing a lot of tank on the side of Dire.
Instant Tinker.
Tinker.
Ooh,
so is this a mid Tinker?
Okay, so that's what their single target combo is.
It can't be a support. I don't think there's any way for it to be a support.
No, unless it's a Grimstroke core, which I don't even remember seeing Grimstroke core. It's been so long.
It's gotta be mid. It's gotta be.
Yeah, likely a mid. Could be a 1 either. Tinker's played in basically any role these days. He just needs level 6 ASAP.
You've seen Pause 1 Tinker?
I have, yeah. In pubs. Not in leagues. But
Tinker I have not seen anything but a support Tinker.
No, I saw him played as the 3 in the last game I casted. In the prior series I played. But like Tinker he gets his level 6 and then he just does Tinker things, right? It doesn't matter what role he is. He does the exact same thing every game. Like the only difference is you go the heal build or the not heal build. But it doesn't really matter what position he's in. He's going to do fine. I think the game plan for Radiant is get Vision with Night Stalker and then get a 2-man leash with Grimstroke and just blast people with Tinker. Or they could just be waiting for fights to happen, in which case you punish like the Axe Call Spearbreaker charge with Grimstroke. And then just blind
don't understand what Radiant's draft does.
It's a little
I'm very skeptical.
hard to execute. And it's weird to combo a hero like Night Stalker, who's very cooldown dependent and timing dependent, with a hero like Tinker, who's just wants to go in all the time. Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. So bans come out, final phase, Storm, Quap, TA, Ursa. So Radiant expecting to see a mid. They don't want to play against the Quap again. Quap is a hero that can somewhat deal with the Tinker. Just like be able to jump on him. They pick up Tide once again. So that's going to be a beefy
Tide
frontliner.
makes sense.
Tide is pretty good anti or counter initiate for like Spirit Breaker Charge, Axe Blinken.
It's also just a generically tanky person who helps frontline, which is not something Night Stalker wants to do, and it's not something anyone else on Radiant could.
Try and give the Tinker a little bit more breathing room to pop in and out of fights with the blinds.
I feel like there's a couple holes in Radiant's draft. One of them is like pushing towers. Serpent Wards is kind of that, but not enough to say that you've like fulfilled that criteria. I think Dire's draft is much more well-rounded, and purely on draft, I'm heavily skewed towards Dire at the moment.
I feel like this is an insurance sniper pick. I don't feel like it pairs very well with the jump-in nature.
I think it pairs. I think it pairs great. He's got frontline. He's got tanky people. I think it's a great sniper pick. It also kills Serpent Wards for low committal. It's going mid because Emu's picking it. Which I think is a solid matchup against Tinker. I'm not certain. I'm pretty sure it's sick.
I feel like Tinker just has his way with him is the problem. Because Tinker could just
I think it's a solid pick, and I'm favoring Dire's draft a whole lot more at the moment.
I think Radiance is a little bit harder to execute. I will give you that.
Oh, it's way harder.
Yeah.
It's way harder.
Grip Stroke's just going to have to coordinate so hard with the Shaman if they want to combo with that. I feel like Tinker is going to have to carry a lot this game, because he's the majority of the damage on Radiant. Well, very aggressive draft coming out from Dire. So I'm curious to see if they're more aggressive in the game compared to last game.
The shoe is on the other foot, I would say, where Radiant has to make things happen. They cannot just play the farm game like they were more comfortable doing last time. They have to be getting things done with this Night Stalker, they have to be getting things done with Ravage, and they have to be killing towers with Serpent Ward. They have to be very intentional about the rotations, turn kills into objectives. And all of that compounded on their draft just being harder to execute. Fewer stuns. I think it's a huge uphill battle for them. Not unwinnable, but...
Dire did smoke out of base. They're going to pop smoke on the Tinker, who gets stunned up by the Venge. They're going to drop shrapnels on him. This is the long duration shrapnel, so very good slow to keep him locked in. Venge will be picking
big
up
start
the
for
first
the mid
blood.
matchup.
And Radiant did not smoke out of base. They were split up, so similar to last game. Dire grouped, Radiant split up, and fight broke out.
They kind of abandoned TZ here. It's an interesting place to stand on the Grim Tide.
Yeah, it is daytime, so these teams, whoever has the high ground vision does have quite a significant advantage. Getting a ton of vision, being able to see kill opportunities.
It's a little awkward for Dire that Sniper has to grab this rune and can't just body block because nobody else is there. So Tinker's going to get the better block, almost certainly.
It is a sniper though, so doesn't have to put himself too far out of position to ensure last hits. So it appears it's going to be a one Tide, supported by the Grimstroke. Tide Axe matchup. Who do you think wins that? So I actually have 4 Dire heroes bottom. Looking to
I think Axe wins that, and I think part of it will come down to the supports. Oh, this is so
Spear
sick.
Breaker's gonna charge in on the Tide under very
Let's
tanky
go.
heroes. Avalanche
Holy.
to follow. They're gonna have to dive a little bit to get this kill. He's gonna run away. One right
Yes,
click from
daddy.
the spear kicker. We'll guarantee that. Grimstroke doing his best to body block Seal.
Shaman TP.
We'll get
I don't know
the
about that.
follow-up kill.
God,
But that
that's so
is
based.
yeah. He is giving up
Oh my
the
gosh.
first wave for that, so not sure how valued that is. But a very nice pickup nonetheless. Rasta did TP bottom, interestingly enough. Just to go through gate. Alright, so looking at the lanes, it's going to be Granola Tiny, supported by Drab's Avenge, facing off against Oblivion KC Night Stalker, supported by Penguin on the Rasta. I expect Night Stalker's going to have a very fun time top as they're just completely bullying this Tiny between the
This is
massive right
this is a
click.
tough lane. Emu is Venge. Wait, 2 people are named Emu.
Yeah, Emu.
Drabs.emu. That's fucking annoying.
Our pause one Emu is a mid sniper facing up against Angry Sun on the Tinker.
Fuck this guy.
Sniper tends to win any lane he's in.
Okay, here's what I was going to say before I got mind broken. Venge has a real tough time stacking and pulling in this lane. She's got to be there for her Tiny. So they
Right.
do so much damage if she's not there.
Yeah, I mean the Venge though is she can't get caught out of position like this because it's very easy for these two to go over and punish her.
This is going to be a very tough lane for Dire to feel okay in. They never come out ahead. They probably don't get any kills. They just have to survive. And that's still a big ask. What will help is once Spearbreaker has level 3, he can start to rotate. If not, like, just start dominating bottom. We'll see what he chooses to do with that. Mid lane is going to be very gankable for Spearbreaker, and then top
Absolutely.
lane with 3 could be pretty nice against the Shaman. Curious to see how he chooses to focus his attention.
Mid lane, I feel like
That Lotus
Sniper
is coming
wins
up.
this. Tinker's just gonna get a 6 though and start rotating and taking stacks. Bottom
Yeah.
lane, it's gonna be KC on the Tidehunter, supported by Alice Sparks on Grimstroke. They're gonna be facing off against Dimitri on the Axe, supported by Seal on the Spirit Breaker. Very deadly Dire off lane down there.
I think it's pretty mid, actually.
Really?
The Axe feels good. The Spirit Breaker is going to be mostly a non-factor until about level 3. And once he has level 3, he may choose to just fuck off and let the Axe solo. Which I think I would prefer. If he stays bottom, they have to be like getting kills with it. If he's just passively hanging out, it's a huge amount of potential being wasted.
Taking a look at
4-minute
CS.
runes coming up.
Yep, 4-minute runes.
No one's contesting on the supports.
Spearbreaker, Grimstroke going to be right clicking each other a little bit. Spearbreaker does have that charge.
Might go.
Grimstroke getting very low.
Oh,
Tide
bash.
is not coming over. One bash. One more bash will get the kill. Doesn't
Big
get
fairy
lucky.
fire.
Running under tower there.
So we see stacks and triangle for Radiant, made by Shaman. I don't think any other stacks are in play at the moment. Important stacks for Tinker. Spell
Yeah, they-
speed at top. I think this is not going to be a kill though. Oh, they're chasing. Never
This
mind.
is gonna actually nice avalanche by Granola, keeping the Night Stalker from
Charge
continuing
middle.
under tower, but likely not gonna turn up into anything. Spearbreaker does charge in on the level 5
It's
Tinker,
not
dropping the
enough.
March of the Machines. Probably
It is
needed
enough.
to stun the sniper or find the sniper there, as does get the kill afterwards on the Spearbreaker.
I am pretty surprised that play was made before Spearbreaker had level 3.
It's not that much of a damage improvement, is it?
It's not about the damage, it's about the charge speed. That's a big part.
Well, he went
Also, the
greater
stun duration
bash.
goes up.
He went greater bash level 3 anyway.
I would not be maxing bash, though. I do disagree with that for sure. I think that's just wrong. You max charge first, it feels so much better.
Bottom lane going to be a charge on the Grimstroke. Has no
You're gonna feel
mana.
better about diving this with
Yeah, oh no, if he gets stunned in the
Swell
wave,
cooldown.
Axe is going to get a nice call here. Yep, in the creep wave, lots of spins, followed up by the bash. Spearbreaker will secure that kill. Taking tower shots though, as Tide just chases him down with the anchor smash, gets him very low, but has to be wary of the Axe. Axe trying to bait him back into the creep wave. But there are creeps under tower, so Tide goes for those instead. It is daytime now, so gonna be a bit more breathing room for Tiny in this lane.
Top has gone better for Dire than I feel like it maybe should have. And I think part of that is because I think Shaman's a little too trigger heavy to rotate.
Tiny is the lowest CS of any core. Only 21 so far. Spearbreaker has come.
Seeing a portal play on the
bottom.
Venge. Trying to get some kills and then turn it into a tower.
Yeah, they're picking out the low ground here. Axe is trying to hunt, pulling the wave with him.
Cancelled.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't
cancel
quite
that
in
charge.
position. No creeps either. There's the creeps, but not quite. It's an awkward way to start. Shaman scouts the Dire jungle. Doesn't find much. I think still the bounty. Yep. Going back to stack the triangle here, maybe also grab the 7-minute run. Spearbreaker's going to contest it though. Probably gets there first on account of the stack. Shaman chooses not to stack, goes straight for the wisdom. It's going to be a little too late.
Spearbreaker can charge to knock him out of it if it comes down to the wire. Doesn't need to. Actually, does it anyway.
That's a huge grab.
Ooh, Revenge actually comes over. Radiant could TP heroes in. They do so with the Grim and the Tinker. Can they find the Shadow Shaman? No, cancelled by the silence, the charge. And so Shadow Shaman running away, very low HP, gets shackled up, goes down to the Tinker. So they do find a kill. I think the Venge, yeah, the Venge TP'd out of there during that. So they lose the wisdom.
If it were other heroes, that might have been an over rotation. But with a Tinker, it's like no committal at all.
Yeah. Tinker just able to go join any fights basically that happen on the map. Sniper is going to be dropping all shrapnels on the Tinker, getting charged by the Battlefury from base. Doesn't need it, just the vision provided is enough. But Sniper now took a lot of tower shots during that end march. And the Shaman's got a TP in and stun him up. Tinker will offensively tip the Sniper. Reciprocal tips coming out from mid laners as Night Stalker drops Dark Ascension. Yeah, not sure if that was a wise idea. Venge has the Invis rune, so no danger there going down. And kind of a whiff Dark Ascension as no man on the Night Stalker forced to go back.
They can't really go on the Axe. It just like takes so much time, and he's got a Vanguard, he's so tanky. It's just not really happening. Their only option is the Sniper and the Tiny. And they all just ran away from the Tinker. And the Tinker showed anyway.
No, so Venge was invis, and they waited for the Sniper to respawn and TP in. Venge just stunned up.
This is definitely not how this lineup is supposed to play.
Yeah, Venge and Spearbreaker doing a good job there of catching out that Tinker a second time. Spearbreaker invading the enemy triangle. He's going to find a Shaman with no mana that's just going to start punching him down with that mace. 2 bashes, followed up by a charge. One where Bash will secure the kill, but not lucky enough to get that.
They're going to kill this Tinker. They're going to fuck this Tinker up.
Ooh, they're going to find a 2 stack. Sniper's going to start working on it. Tinker really wants these stacks after dying twice. And he's just focusing on the Ancients for now, maybe trying to bait them into the march.
It's just something you'd like to bring the Tide to, but he's got no mana to speak of.
They're going to charge in through the march onto the Tinker. No ultimate on the Spearbreaker. It's going to get pretty low to those Radiant heroes there, but he's just going to be able to walk it off with that great movement speed.
It's such a big deal not being able to bring your Tide to that. It's so important. Just about to crest 100 CS on the Axe. He's just having a swell time. Cutting and jungling.
Oh, Axes. Very aggressive. He's going to find some march down here. Surely they have to punish this Axe, right?
They have to be doing something. Right now they're not doing anything. Dire doesn't have to give anything up. They're bringing supports down. I think this is not enough.
This is a Vanguard Axe, so they have to rely primarily on magic damage to win this. They also have to hold 1 stun to cancel the TP. They're gonna use everything. Axe gets the call out. Can he get the Hex? Ooh. I think, was he silenced there? Did he not have mana?
He missed once on the bug. I don't know how that happened.
Looks like Night Stalker got a kill on the Spearbreaker top while that was happening. I was curious why the chop didn't come down. Maybe he was disabled.
Silenced.
Oh, okay.
The
bug?
didn't die the first time, got instantly refreshed.
Right.
He hit the bug the first. Oh, it's because he was laser blinded. That's right. That's why he missed. That's a pretty nice.
That is nice.
combo.
Yeah. You could blind 2 heroes.
The whole
and
draft
then
makes
bug
sense
2
now.
heroes.
I'm in love with it now.
There you
Actually,
go.
in love with it. It's actually sick.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Likely gonna have a
Burger
play
TV's
top.
top. They're looking to get something done
Yeah.
here with supports.
Heroes are kind of flanking each other. And a conga line
I
up
don't
here is.
think this is the move for Dire.
They're gonna charge up this Night Stalker. Whiff
Oh,
on the
boy.
Avalanche.
This is not
Spearbreaker
happening.
will continue the charge. That is a very high resource Night Stalker though, as the Grimstroke TP's in. Uses the Inkswell on the Night Stalker. Finds no targets though, as Spearbreaker just sitting in the Lotus Pool, waiting for
That's a
that to
dead
spawn.
Spearbreaker.
Yeah, he combines disables from these 2 supports.
Just
to
let him
bring
die,
everybody
guys.
down.
Let him die. Let him die.
Lotus
This
picked
is
up by the Night
crazy.
Stalker as they turn on the Tiny, drop the roster boards for it. And he's just gonna get tinkered down.
Misplay after misplay after misplay.
2 for nothing.
Also a misplay to use the Serpent Wards there. That's your tower killing tool.
Yeah, they likely didn't need that with the Tinker coming in. Giving a lot of space to this Axe, though. This Axe is going to be the win condition for Dire, I feel. Just having an awesome game right now. 120 last hits at 12 minutes. Just absolutely farming out of his mind.
A relatively poor blink timing if it's your first item, but it's third. And nothing is very little has been done to
Oh, we're going to have an Axe rotation.
fighting
Go
without
on
it, which I
top.
think is actually totally fine.
No blink, trying to find something. Dire just gonna run, or Radiant just gonna run away from this Axe. They do not want to deal with him. It took 3 heroes last time, like 20 seconds to bring down this hero. And with a whole team behind him, just a little bit too dangerous. It is nighttime.
I am
though,
wondering
so-
if Axe is here because Axe wanted to be, or if someone wanted Axe to be there. And Axe is like, I gotta farm a fucking blink, guys.
Hard to say. He was having a very fun time bottom. Just
Yeah.
no one's been down there for a long time.
And it's awkward because his farm was completely outside the purview of what his other cores wanted to take. And now he kind of has to step on Sniper's toes, or at least a camp.
Yeah, they probably felt like there was going to be a fight up there. They probably wanted Spearbreaker to start something, but they just never got vision of any heroes because of the smoke that popped. I'm guessing that was
Sims
their
in
front start.
10 seconds. Smoke on the Venge Spearbreaker. Sniper is nearby to lend help with Assassinate.
Got a pop on a Grimstroke who was stacking. There is a Tinker nearby. Ooh, gets a nice leash onto 2 targets. Tinker is going to be able to ultimate once the cooldown comes off. He's only
Stalker
level 9
TPing in.
though, so taking quite a bit. Night Stalker comes in, Dark Ascension, going onto the Venge. Just going to right-click her down with that Echo Saber. A lot of damage between those 2 items on the Night Stalker. You're going to try and turn around. Spearbreaker
Oh,
charging.
that's charged. That's so big.
Cancels it. Void would have
Yes,
been
there is
able to
also
stop
big.
it. So pretty lucky there for the Spearbreaker to not get voided there.
Night Stalker didn't. He saw him because he had flying vision.
Just didn't have
But it
time
was
to
a little
react
out
on
of
it.
left field.
Yeah, Tinker only having that level 1 ult does mean that he can't really combo that well with the Grimstroke. Because he has to channel for quite a long time. It's 2.5 second time to rearm, 7-second cooldown. So you can only really get like 1 spell combo off with the Grimstroke Leash. I keep calling it Grimstroke Leash. What is it called? Soulbind. Yeah, Soulbind.
Leash is a reasonable thing to call it.
So they really need some more levels on this Tinker before they can really exploit these Soulbinds. Going Ags, so trying to buff up that laser. I imagine he's gonna go Dagon though, as well.
It's
I feel like they need the
frustrating that
Dagon.
we're 15 minutes in and nothing has been done with Ravage.
Not even a push.
Literally
for forwards.
nothing.
Yeah, no ward push either. Just never slow burner this game.
It's 15 minutes and all the towers are up for Dire. Against Ravage, against Serpent Ward, against Manstucker ults. This is a very weird draft. It's hard to execute, but it like you can do it, but they're just not right now.
Could be the fact that Night Stalker, as they go on a Night Stalker top, link reveal by the Axe, gonna jump in, finish up that hero. No call, but
Silver
no
Lining, the
coin
heck
win.
stops the dunk.
Yeah. Yeah. That will be a tier 1 tower, though, as they're actually going to commit Soulbind, though, onto the Axe and Spearbreaker. Rasta trying to come in to shackle these two heroes, but just a little bit too slow. Tide did TP up here, but Dire has completely backed off. It is daytime. Night Stalker dead. Has the Dark Ascension, though. So they could turn this into a fight.
Sniper's respecting the jump of the Night Stalker with second item 4 staff.
Maybe smoke by Dire. They do want to continue the fight as Spearbreaker charges in on the Grimstroke. Dark Ascension in the back. He's going to start working on the Sniper, who does have a shield rune. Grimstroke is going to go down to the Sniper, looks like, as Axe is just going to follow this Tinker around, chop him down. Nice stun. But I'm not sure where that stun came from. Night Stalker getting very low, trying to chase the Axe. It just feels like it's very hard to kill some of these important heroes on the side of Dire. Sniper, that shield rune. Axe is just very hard to kill. Axe blinks forwards, get the Coin Blade onto Tidehunter. He's going to go down, never Coin Blade onto the Shaman. Triple kill on Dimitri. They take the tower, wards drop, not doing much of anything.
This is really disastrous for Radiant. I don't think this is a draft that can like come back without explicit throws from the enemy.
I agree. They have to be able to just dump things onto the Soulbind targets. And so Tinker needs items and levels to really be able to do that, which he's lacking. So it's just really item dependent on Radiant.
The other tricky thing is that this draft is inherently like harder to execute, and we're not seeing the coordination required to make it work. We're seeing Ravage when like people are dead and there's not a whole lot of damage to get in on it with. Night Stalker is like making space in the back line, but no one else can help him out, and no one's taking advantage of the space that he's making. It's really tough. Bots on Axe.
Yep. Trying to hunt this Tinker down, I imagine, prevent him from pushing on any lanes. Radiant are camping their high ground. Night Stalker's gonna find a Spearbreaker. It is daytime Night Stalker though, so not doing that much. Soulbind comes out, followed by a very nice shackle between the two of them. Tinker comes in now with the blind. They're doing a ton of damage to these two. Just the nature of the Axe with this much farm, just so much HP able to survive through that. Night Stalker did get out there, surprising. So nice pickup. Did cost them the Soulbind though.
I'm surprised that went as well for Dire as it did. It started as a 2v4.
No reinforcements. Tide getting caught under tower, trying to take the tier 1 top. He will be able to actually gets denied in front of his face, but he does manage to get it. But he will die for it.
Right now, the Tide pickup just really isn't panning out in any way.
Yeah.
It's like fairly... It's struggling on the farm, but it's in a similar spot to the other cores. They've gotten one tower, which was the Tide solo pushing, and he doesn't feel tanky enough to actually like stand up to the Night Stalker, which was a big selling point of the pickup and being a carry role in the first place. Sorry, not the Night Stalker. It just it's not. It doesn't. He doesn't feel. They don't feel like they can frontline against all this damage, and even if he felt like he could, they can just go past him. It's harder to do that, but it's like it's real tough right now.
You pick the Tide one into the Axe, I believe. I believe they knew the Axe was there.
Yeah, and the Axe just started cutting the wave because like you're not really cutting the Tide, so that part kind of makes sense. But yeah, you don't.
There are heroes that deal better with the Axe. It may have just been a misdraft there.
You don't even have to deal with the Axe necessarily. I would say it doesn't deal with the Axe, but it's like whatever it was meant to do, it's not doing. Put it that way. And it's not necessarily the Tide's fault. It's like other things aren't doing what they're doing either, and so the problems cascade and start manifesting in other areas in the draft. We haven't seen we've seen very few like support rotations. The supports don't have a lot of damage independently. Sniper's gonna get wrecked here though.
Radiant, got to be seen by Night Stalker. Needs the team to come over though. Spearbreaker just nether strikes defensively. Try and buy a sniper some time. Rasta's gonna try and combo Spearbreaker. Soulbind onto 2. They're gonna be able to pick up the Spearbreaker. Axe getting very low to combine magic damage from this team. Just goes down to the Tinker, isolated from this team. Sniper not able to assist with him. Night Stalker does eventually go down to the Sniper.
He was so far out of position and he lives. How does that happen?
He got nether striked. The Night Stalker got nether striked, and he has the Hurricane Pike, so was able to skedaddle out of there.
That's crazy. Now they're looking at the Tinker.
Still a very
Tiny has Shadow Blade, but no blink. So not catching him that time. Spearbreaker's gonna grab the 21 Wisdom. Tormentor is up and it's bottom, despite being 22 minutes, because Night Stalker makes it fucky. Very fucky wucky.
Have not seen this Tiny do anything so far. He is 3rd highest net worth in the game.
We've seen him do a little bit. We've definitely seen him do more than the Tide. And also, it's not the onus is not so much on him to do things. Now that he has the Shadow Blade, it's a little bit more, but it's more like the Tide feels more of the pressure to make things happen than the Tiny does. Tiny is a more traditional late game scaling carry. Tide is more niche, and whatever niche it's meant to fulfill is like.
Hey, Sniper.
Going on the Tiny now though.
Trying to go on the Tinker. Tinker's getting charged. Sniper's gonna run out of there with the haste. But now trying to come back in.
Not gonna get there fast enough.
Oncoming. Yeah, not fast enough.
As long as Dire doesn't waste too much time, like going for plays that don't pan out, they are definitely chill to just coast and play the net worth game. There is a balance to that, where if you are far ahead, you want to push that advantage and not give your enemy time to recuperate. That is the one tricky thing, and that's something we saw Ursa team struggle with the first game. There are a couple things they can do. They can take Tormentor, they can take Roshan. They don't want to do either of those things, most likely, without picks. Their vision is okay, but I'd say Radiant is like... Radiant has more comprehensive vision.
Charging on the Night Stalker. Ross is nearby, though, able to hex him up. Axe will try and blink in, go onto the Night Stalker, but gets immediately silenced. Soulbind onto 2 here is getting double shackled. Tinker double blind with the axe. That is massive damage, just bouncing twice because of the Aghanims. So they have to be very careful of this combo.
It's a big misplay to try and call the Night Stalker. Tough. Big. That was also a blink reveal from Tide. That was good. I think they still didn't get as much as they would have hoped for. If they can get this, that helps.
Gonna find the Tiny.
Do still have swap. Tinker's coming in.
Tinker in, blinds up, doing so much damage with these blinds. Dominating now on the Tinker. They need to
still
focus.
chasing.
Yeah, they need to focus this Tinker down in fights. Because that combo between the laser and the soulbind is just so devastating.
It's a little scary to stand here against a ulted Night Stalker.
Yeah, he's gonna walk forward. Has the dust for the Tiny. No dead in the water though. Tide blinking maybe a little bit too aggressively as he's just out of reach of the 2-2 tower. We'll back up with the Inkswell. They had the Desolator. They could have done a little bit more damage to this tier 1, potentially taking it, but Tide is just going to go mid, showing mid.
All of this, and they still didn't get a tower.
Yeah.
Like, they got some kills middle, and then didn't get mid tower and chose to kept following on the Tiny and the Venge, and that could have been okay because it led them bottom to get the bottom tower, and they still didn't get it because, man, they're just not getting what they need to be getting. These picks are not turning into objectives. It's not opening up the map.
They did not have Ravage. That could have played into the decision making. Dire really don't have that long cooldown.
They already used the Ravage and got some kills, and that could have been one, at least guaranteed tower, maybe even two. They probably could have gotten mid tower and bottom tower, honestly.
Axe gotta find a Grimstroke Blink call. Gonna bring him very close to death. Yep, Silence will prevent the chop. So they have
This
that
guy
as a
just cannot
consolation
dunk
for
this
them.
game.
Spearbreaker charging in strangely. Asta did ping a gem. I think someone might have a gem this game. I'm trying to find it. Here, actually, I'll just look at items.
Gem of True Sight dropped here. It's in the Radiant base. Where did that come from?
Ah, okay. I'm not sure whose gem that is, but there is one on the ground. Looks like Dire wants
Maybe
to
it's
take
for
top
Night Stalker to
Tormentor.
pick up or something?
Maybe. I'd imagine it's to deal with the Shadow Blade.
Yeah.
Tormentor onto Venge, that's a pretty good shard.
It's a very good start.
Yeah, you generally rush that on Venge to get the double bounce magic missile. Basically doubling its effectiveness.
Closing in on 27 minutes, Shaman still has no blink, and I think that's definitely partially the result of Aether Shock being level 1 until just a moment ago. But, you know, it's also just been a tough game.
They were
Serpent Ward's
losing.
committed for tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they were losing a lot of fights and dying without getting killed.
I think that tower died without the Serpent Ward.
Proud of.
It's...
But he gets to say he did push with wards.
Alright, Gem is on the Night Stalker now. Working on the BKB.
This is a Day Stalker. There is vision here. They're going to scout out the Night Stalker. Blinken by the Axe. Has the Inkswell. Grimstroke right there, though. Axe BKB, so that's going to protect him from the Tinker for a little bit. Swap by the Venge onto the Grimstroke.
Jump on the ground.
Shackle shot onto the... Or Shackle onto the Spirit Breaker. Ravage to follow onto the Tiny. Axe never Blinken call. Good two-man call there. Bringing down this Tide and Ross to 4 dead on the side of Radiant, as Tinker was not in position to blind up those soul-binded targets. Axe with the BKB now to try and deal with that combo.
Gem has been picked up by Spiritbreaker, and Spiritbreaker has his own Shadow Blade.
Don't think there's any invis they have to worry about on Radiant. It's just dewarding is the issue. Because when you're this far behind and you can't really split push, having a gem on the enemy team just makes it a nightmare to try and get wards out. They can just hem you in very tightly with that gem.
When the team fight against Ravage, they get the tier 2 and they go back for Roshan. Again, Dire's just doing a much better job of turning kills into objectives taken. And this was a really important game for Radiant to be on the ball with that. Smoke with 2 heroes. No play to be made here, though.
Feels like... Ooh, Night Stalker's going to reveal here. Blinks away. As Dire were nearby. It feels like Radiant have kind of put all their eggs in one basket with this combo. Relying completely on these soul binds. With plus Tinker.
Their damage is just lackluster.
Yeah. Like the only way they kill heroes is with that combo. It feels Tide's just not tanky enough to give Tinker the time he needs to be able to blind targets down.
The other awkward thing is that nobody can split push except the Tinker. No one else can push from Fog except kind of the Grimstroke, and that's like... This is another reason why max Aether Shock would have felt good at this point. I don't think you ever max Hex until the end. Because it's just no damage.
It's hard to split push, period, because the Axe does have boots of travel. So he can just go into any lane and kill whatever hero is split pushing. So you really need like Fog split push. Axe is going to blink forward.
You still have to have the option.
Goes on the Rasta, single target call. Tinker continues his TP in. It's going to get the soul blind off. Tinker now able to get... Ooh, no, actually... No blind coming out, so no combo thus far. Only gets the laser at the very end of it. Axe does fall.
Still have Tiny Aegis.
Night Stalker did die, buys back now. Tiny, very low HP in the front, gets swapped out by Venge. I don't think he wanted to get swapped out there, but it does preserve the Aegis.
It does. He definitely did not want to get swapped, but if Aegis lives, that's pretty nice.
Never a good feeling as Venge when you swap your carry.
Even with
to
Aegis, I
safety.
think they did dive a little too far.
Yeah,
At the
especially
very
after
end
that.
there. I think
Especially
they
after that axe died. I was saying, if you're a Venge support and you swap out your carry to safety, you never want to see them just keep running into the combat.
Yeah.
It's like, I just
dude,
put
what the
myself on
fuck?
the
I'm
line for
trying
you.
to use Aegis. Very funny. Catch the ops toward bottom. It's helpful. I might just run back here and do it again. Tiny is in base though. Tiny's not going to be with them for this time.
Spirit Breaker charge. Finds the Night
Doesn't
Stalker.
seem like it matters so far.
Yeah, the ghillie suit sniper just hidden. Night Stalker probably didn't even realize he was dying until it was too late. That is a pretty nasty combo actually. Spirit Breaker giving you vision. The sniper just ghillie
Aggro
suiting
swap.
you. Ooh, nice swap on the Tide. Running away. Just getting peeked down by the sniper though. He's just gonna right click him to death. Tons of damage coming up from
Lives
Sniper.
the whole time somehow.
Have to be careful with the Soulbind though. Tinker is up. Venge looking for something with no swap available. Has to back up. Gonna be a charge
Tinker
on
doesn't
the
even feel like
Shaman.
they can
Ooh,
be
nice
here.
cancel.
They're just pushing
on
top
the
instead.
charge. Yeah, Tinker's not even there for the Soulbind though. That's just gonna
And
be
it's
a
true.
wasted
Tinker
spell.
can't be here. You're just gonna get killed.
Yeah, I mean Soulbind was used, but they are now Soulbindless for this continued push. After taking bottom racks, Dire will continue onto the mid lane.
We
They
do have
can't-
Dagon now.
On the Tinker? Ooh.
Yes.
Alright,
Maybe
so
in a Grimstroke game where you're already struggling for damage, this has to come out sooner.
potentially. Radiant will not challenge the second racks falling. Dire can't move on to the third racks as there is still a tier 2 available in the top lane. So they will now position to take that. Age is still up on the Tiny for another minute. 0 kill Tiny.
Classic
11
TZ.
assists. I hit buildings. What do you mean? Kills? Never heard of them.
DD on the Tiny though, looking to change that. Age is expiring in less than a minute. They want to get something done with it.
They have to wait for
Might just be
creeps.
tower, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's looking like Radiant is trying to make this a conflict.
Feel like they should be waiting for the Aegis here. Do have the ward down.
I agree.
Speedbreaker doesn't have the gem anymore, so they don't see it. Ooh, Dark Ascension.
on
Tide's
the
gonna
sniper,
jump on a
that's big.
sniper. Sniper's out of position. This is a huge kill if they can get it. Ben's gonna try and swap him out, but he's dead on the water. Ravage committed. They're gonna try and bring
Big
him
kill.
down. They do manage to kill him. No buyback on him, so he can't get back into the fight. Axe, meanwhile, going on the Shadow Shaman. Actually, he got the Tinker along with the Tiny. So that's a
10
huge
seconds
kill
Aegis.
for Dire. Kind of a split up fight now. Dire retreating in the back line, and they find
What's
a
happening?
Spirit Breaker in the back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they find the sniper, but Tinker was caught out of position by the Axe and Tiny.
It was a good start for Radiant to jump the sniper. It still took a while. And Dire just kind of mirrored their movement and did the same with the Axe and the Tiny. Jump the backline.
It felt like a bit of an unfortunate timing, too, with the Tiny having that DD and still having the Aegis for that
It was
fight.
questionable for them to fight into the Aegis, especially
Yeah.
when high ground is so close as a potential objective. You don't really want to be fighting at your tier 2s if high ground is on the table. They do see this Tiny. Not much to do about it, though.
Need that Tinker up to really be able to kill him.
I guess that's like true. There's no other way, but I don't know if it's even true with the Tinker.
I mean, eventually Tide's gonna be able to right-click and
No.
deal with the Tiny on his own. I feel like
No.
if you go enough negative armor, Tiny doesn't
There's
have
no
that much armor
eventually.
these days.
There's no eventually.
If the
Tide
game goes
never,
long
Tide
enough.
never comes close to matching up to this Tiny.
I feel like the damage reduction is quite powerful versus the Tiny. It's in a 1v1. I think the Tide does win that. It's pretty close, though. Tiny will get the Silver Edge, so there is that. Sniper is back alive. He will peep down the tower with Tiny in front. They're gonna pop Dark Ascension, try and find the Sniper. He's just gonna Hurricane Pike away, gets stunned up by something there. Ravage comes out? Where'd the Ravage go? I didn't even see the effect on the ground. It's Tide are very deep, trying to find the Sniper.
Tide dead.
Yep, backline seems like the heroes are split off for now, so this is the primary fight here. As Axe comes in now with the Blink call onto the Tide after trying to bring him down. Sniper can just wail on this Tide. Oh no. Has the positioning now, left all of them. Team either died or left him.
It started good for Radiant, where Tiny got split off from his entire team, and then the Ravage ensured Venge couldn't help him. But they just don't have the follow-up to these good starts. Night Stalker's under farmed, he can't really threaten anybody. It's only the Tide who can, like, really show his face.
It's just so hard to bring down this Sniper with the Satanic, the Hurricane Pike, and the Venge swaps. And the Axe just blinks calls you if you ever try and go on him. And they're forced to start these fights on their own terms, Radiant is. Because Sniper just hits your tower otherwise. Swap on the Night Stalker, nice kill there.
Making sure the Grim Circle does something. Nice job, Sniper.
Massive,
nice job.
Massive
Holy.
damage. Coming up from the Tinker there. Sniper taking like 1,000 pure damage or whatever that is.
It is kind of crazy. I don't know if it's based or cringe that they went for that play on the Night Stalker with Tiny dead.
If you're gonna lose a hero on
normally
Radiant,
be based,
yeah.
but because it's our pause one is legend, it's cringe. Because it's them, it's cringe.
Radiant's pretty happy to
I know
sack
you
that
agree.
hero for
I know you
kills.
agree.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Just a little bit cringe. I was just saying, if you're Radiant, you are completely happy sacking a Night Stalker during the daytime for that kill. Because he doesn't like
for the Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, I mean, with the 25,000 gold
so.
advantage, the gold difference is going to be quite significant between those two.
I don't think there's any happiness.
There's no happiness, but
and there's no such thing as a trade at this point. It's just like your Night Stalker is struggling, your Night Stalker died. That's the equation. It doesn't matter if the Spirit Breaker's dead. They can't get anything done with that Spirit Breaker kill.
I'm purely looking at gold here.
I mean, the gold doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
It's not like we got a net worth swing. It doesn't matter. You're 26k behind. You're 2 racks behind. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. Not in this configuration of game states and variables, and it doesn't matter. Get Mogs.
Kind of a controversial statement by Sorry. Smoke out by the Radiant. Radiant coming out of base. Creeps are not too far from the borders of their fountain though, or their ancient, so they're not going to be able to leave for too long. Tinker is going to have to stay back and defend with the march. Radiant gonna pop Dark Ascension and the Soul
I like the
Bind.
Spirit Breaker play though. I would do the same shit, man. I'd just AFK and rush waiting for it to respawn.
Oh, is that what they're thinking? They're thinking that there's
yes,
no
that's what Spirit Breaker's doing.
No.
Also, he may have revealed on a scan. I'm not sure.
That probably was it. That's probably why they Dark Ascension, but they see the Spirit Breaker, but he's all alone in there.
Oh, it's about to spawn. There it comes.
He's gonna die. Tiny in the back, Invis.
There it is. Something. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, there's the Roshan.
See that Night Stalker's away. He's showing middle. They're gonna have to go back in base because their base is being pushed. Somebody check Roche, please.
Benji's right there.
There we go.
Alright, Dire's gonna start it. Radiant seem like they want to contest. They're running heroes up. There's no Dark Ascension though. They're down a hero. Tide gonna get called by Axe. Bench swapped towards the Sniper. That's gonna position him for a very nice 3-man Ravage. As the Soulbind comes out, Axe able to get the BKB off. As Tinker just blasting these heroes down, kills the Spirit Breaker, kills the Venge very quickly. Shadow Shaman
on Sniper.
Trying to keep these heroes stunned up as Venge with the Axe still doing quite a bit of work, trying to go on the Night Stalker. Probably not either hero you want to be going on. Probably want to be focusing this Tinker, as Tinker's now running away from the Spirit Breaker, will be able to get away.
Now you just say fuck Rush and you go in.
Yep. Only one buyback on the roster.
Oh
no, they find the Tinker now.
Well,
has no buyback. That's going to be the game. They double buyback onto the Night Stalker and Rasta, but without the Tinker, they just don't have the damage to do anything. Sniper can just right-click these heroes down.
That's super game.
Yeah.
But then TZ and Spirit are hitting top. What are you doing? What are
we
you
gotta get
doing?
megas.
What are you doing? Oh, it's so cringe.
He's grinding up building damage. The racks have less armor
Oh
than the
my
towers.
gosh.
Gotta get that building
I
damage stat.
would have loved to see Radiant's draft work out, but I think they just made the game really hard for themselves with the draft.
It is a very difficult combo to pull off. I do like the combo. Like, if you win lanes, you can just run at heroes with Soulbind and Tinker Blinds.
There's too many Fs. There's too much. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too many
Axe,
conditions.
I think Axe got so far ahead, it was just impossible to deal with him as well. Anyway, that was game 2. Our pause won as Legend will 2-0 sweep the Ursa team. I forget their full name. And this has been a fun series.
How does Ursa hold Battlefury?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Sari, for co-casting this time. And
You're so welcome.
thank you to all the viewers who watched. See you all next time.